everyone to our regular scheduled council meeting for July 6, 2020 at 7 p.m. Ms. Berner, if you would please call the roll.
Yeah. Mayor Lowry.
Here.
Councilwoman Hopkins.
Here.
Councilman Grimm.
I'm here.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
She stepped out.
Oh, that's right. She had, okay. Councilman Cobb.
Here.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
You.
7 members present.
Thank you. All right. And tonight's, there we go. Linda, can we get a yes that
Present.
you're here? Thank you. All right. And then
Sorry
tonight's,
about that.
no problem. Tonight's invocation will be by Councilwoman Hopkins.
Dear Heavenly Father, help us guide the city in making the right decisions. Help us through the pandemic and please protect our military and first responders. Amen.
All right. Thank you. And we'll move on to the pledge. And Mr. Grimm has our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the
United States of America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Justice for all. We fail on that one. I want to know how those choirs get synchronized to do Zoom concerts.
But the flag holder did an excellent job.
As always, Mr. Grant, for that
All
reason.
right, moving on to actions on the minutes for the work session on June 15th, 2020.
Motion to accept them.
Second.
Second.
We had a first by Mr. Cobb and a second by Mr. Grimm. Council, any discussion on those before we vote? All right, when you're ready, Ms. Berner.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Cobb.
Yep.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hopkins.
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
And it's accepted 7-0.
Thank you. And then we will move on to accepting the minutes for the regular council meeting on June 15th, 2020.
So moved.
I think you're going to have to back up there on me. I wasn't in that meeting.
You were in the work session, but you were not at the regular session.
All right. I think we had a motion by Ms. Eggleston, and I don't know who the second was from.
Second.
Okay, we'll go with Ms. Hopkins. Any discussion?
Okay.
And when you're ready for the vote, please.
All right, Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Cobb.
Sustain.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hopkins.
Yes.
Those minutes are accepted 6-0-1.
Thank you very much. And moving on, communications, none tonight. City manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the public, and remaining council members. I'd like to share with you the city manager report. As we know, this is the first meeting of the month, so we don't have any department heads. However, I will put Mr. Hutchinson on the spot. Derek, if you just want to give a brief overview of what we went through last week, who we brought in, and then how you're moving your department forward.
Let me unmute it there. Okay, you got me?
Yep.
All right, so last week we did hold second interviews for code enforcement officers. Overwhelming amount of applications we got in from several different sources where we posted. It was, I mean, we had quite the selection. We did narrow it down to 2, and we did offer those positions last week, and they both were accepted. We have a very experienced former code enforcement officer and someone who's fairly new to the field, so we've got kind of both ends of the spectrum that I think will make a great team working together. So both those employees will start on Monday, this coming Monday. So super excited to have them on board and get the code enforcement up and running, and so we can see some more consistency and proactive enforcement out there. Also, the tool lending center is together. Everything's there. I still have a couple of things before we do a grand opening, but just let you and the citizens know that we are taking reservations right now for tools. So if you are in need of hand tools, your basic hand tools, hammers, wrenches, saws, we do have a circular saw. We have an orbiter sander, shop vac, wheelbarrow. We have lawnmowers, weed eaters, blowers, manual hedge trimmers. I mean, we have a variety of tools that are available right now for citizens. So right now, what they could do is they could call our office, the City Hall office, which is 937-845-9492. And if they dial my extension, which is 20, the planning department, they could, if they get me, I'll let them know. If they get my voicemail, all I need is just their phone number to call them back and what tool they would like to reserve. And I will schedule a time to meet them down there to get their tool or mower or whatever they need to get their job done. Most of our tools are a 24-hour lending, so we would expect it back the very next day at around the same time or before. We do have some that could be out longer than 24 hours, depending on what types of jobs they have. But the mowers, importantly, most of the yard equipment is going to be 24 hours just to help with the demand, if there's a demand for those, that we have them available for all the citizens the very next day. But yeah, if you get the chance and want to stop out and see it, it's got a whole new facelift on the inside and outside. I believe today, or if it didn't get done today, this week, we're going to have some mulch put outside around the building. So it's going to look a lot nicer down there, and excited to get that going. So with the tool lending center and the code enforcement officers coming on board, things are looking good. So I'm excited. And I'll take any questions if anybody has any questions about any of that.
Mr. Hutchinson.
Yep.
What is the total cost we have in equipment in that building?
Right now, under $2,000.
Okay.
Yep. So by utilizing a current building that we already had there at the Smith Park, we was able to save a lot, because I did initially budget to purchase a shed or a small storage building to place somewhere. So being able to utilize that building that really wasn't being used before definitely helped out, saved a lot. There are a couple updates that we need to do to that building still, but nothing that's going to prevent us from operation there.
Thank you.
I have a question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, ma'am.
What is our liability if somebody hurts themselves with the saw or the lawnmower?
Sure. So anyone who lends, first they have to meet the guidelines, and a lot of the guidelines we have them spelled out. They have to show proof of residency. We have to show driver's license, and they also are signing an agreement, a user agreement, that they are, once they take the tool or the machine, whatever they're using or borrowing, that they assume full responsibility for. This is a common contract that is used for municipalities that do this type of tool lending. We did have our law director go through and read and make sure everything was covered, but they will be signing basically user's risk at this. Now, obviously, we'll anything that any piece of equipment or tool that needs a maintenance, obviously will be removed right away from the inventory. And also in that agreement, it also states that if a piece of equipment or tool becomes or is suspected to be broken or maybe weakening, they're supposed to cease immediately and contact us. So it's a pretty lengthy contract, basically is what it looks like, an agreement. It's 2 pages long. So it does cover a lot. But that's to protect ourselves and the citizens itself.
Thank you, Ms. Hopkins. Ms. Eggleston?
Mr. Hutchinson, what happens if somebody doesn't return something that they borrow?
So basically what the contract reads, the borrow agreement that they're signing is if it does not return, or say they claim it's lost or stolen, they're responsible for it. So say they don't contact, say they borrow a mower and we don't hear back from them, they will file charges of theft that we assume that it was stolen. And the Clark County Sheriff's Department will issue a citation for theft.
All right. Anyone else? I just had one, Mr. Hutchinson. When do you plan on doing a grand opening, if you will?
Sure. So I just got the signage this past week, and like I said, there's a couple updates. I need to replace the man door, the man entry door, and I want to upgrade the lighting a little bit. And then once we get the outside, we're putting a real nice park.
Anyone else have a problem?
Building up in the mulch bed. So
Derek the Dragon.
once I get that doing, we'll schedule something like maybe a ribbon cutting, something like that where we can come out and. I'm sorry.
You were lagging there. You're froze. So I don't know.
You got me now? Is that better?
Yeah. Yep.
How am I now?
You're still froze in my world. Nope. There you
Am
are.
I?
Yeah.
Now I'm good.
Yeah, you're better now.
Where did I leave off?
There
I
you go.
talking about the mulch around the perimeter and the beautification and then the ribbon cutting ceremony.
Yeah. So basically, very soon. I would like to get something on the books here very soon for a date, and have everyone out and invite the public out if they want to take a tour of the inside and see what we have available. But as of right now, though, it's ready to go. So if anybody needs anything, feel free to call us. I will be posting some stuff on Facebook this week, at least some tool list, some items that we do have available, and a copy of the request sheets that we'll have that they can request tools. But I'm very excited.
And they've got to, I'm assuming, provide some sort of proof that they are a citizen of New Carlisle, whether it's a water bill or something.
Yep. So driver's license with the address that they live at, and the water bill. And the water bill does have to be current as well. So
Okay.
as long as they're up to date on current water bill and it has that date matches their driver's license, they will be the ones responsible for lending, for borrowing and bringing back.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir, go ahead.
Mr. Hutchinson, do you plan on putting any kind of security camera down around that building?
As of right now, I don't. I did add additional locks to the doors down there. I am going to be adding additional lighting on the outside. But as far as cameras right now, we don't have Wi-Fi down there. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, I just wanted to drop in. We don't have any internet connection out there. So how we're going to have that configured is we are replacing the door that's out there with a steel door. We're actually going to lock that steel door from the inside and then exit out. Am I saying this wrong? I'm saying it backwards. We're going to lock the garage door from the inside and then exit out of the steel door we're getting in place. It'd be hard to get into. But unless we get dedicated internet service out there, we're not going to be able to have any security systems because they all really run off of that. One thing I have thought about doing is placing the trail camera that we had in Madison Street School out there. And that will take snapshots of anyone who comes in there. So that aspect will be done, but a full-fledged security system may be not possible right now until we decide if we're going to get maybe some internet at the shelter house. But we will have a camera in there, like a trail cam per se.
Anything else, Mr. Cobb?
No, I'm just kind of curious. With that amount of money sitting in there, somebody breaks into it.
It's going to be nearly impossible for someone to break into that once we're done doing it.
Nothing's impossible to break into.
Well, it's going to be
No, we're going to make it as difficult and as time consuming as possible. Just by like the overhead door, I added additional padlocks. I mean, any padlock could be cut. I bought the heavy dutiest one I could, but I added multiple. So, they won't just have one, they'll have multiple. So hopefully maybe delay, breaking in and entering. But no, now once I add my big screen TV and my recliner down there for my man cave, then maybe we'll add security.
And the beer kegs.
Yeah, that's right.
And just so everyone knows, it's a cinder block building with no windows. That's why we chose that location. So there's no windows. Once you get that steel door in there and it's locked from the inside of the garage door, it's going to be hard because that still is, I'm sure, a security plate. But again, we will have a trail camera in there, definitely, for sure.
Okay,
And the
great.
signage I got for that building is not a permanent signage. It will only be up while we're at the location when someone's there. So other than that, the sign will be removed.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate the updated information.
Thank you.
And Mr. Bridge, back to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Hutchinson, for that. I am going to add to it. The tool shed is something Derek's worked really, really hard on. I know that was council was very excited when we're interviewing him and he brought that up. So I would highly encourage council to maybe email Derek directly and set up some times you guys can go in and tour the inside of that. I've seen it before. I've seen it after. The paint job looks great. The inside actually looks like a shop you can go get stuff at. So he's done a fantastic job on that. Another thing too, I wanted to compliment Derek on is, I don't think he was expecting it either, is the amount of response we got for our part-time code enforcement position. We got a lot of applications and we got a lot that had some experience. So I just wanted to spend maybe 30 seconds and say, hey, Derek, you did a good job of that. And I appreciate that. And I think council appreciates that. So with comes that council is we're going to be very aggressive on code enforcement, exterior property maintenance, whether it be a curb, a gutter falling off, whether it be high grass, tall weeds. So this is for the betterment of the city. So I am expecting some complaints at the city building. Usually when we're doing code enforcement right, we get complaints, and that's an indicator that we are doing it right. So just give council members a heads up. You may be hearing from some of your citizens about the code enforcement side of things. I know there's some issues going on now with the fence that we're trying to get cleaned up and ready to go, but just bear with us. That's a very common thing. Or we see an increase in complaints when we're actually trying to clean up the city. And it's usually the person who's impacted that's complaining, but the neighbors are loving every minute of it because now they're getting in the yard was not good, or the house that has some structural issues or some site issues now looks a lot better, which has a ripple effect on everyone. So just bear with us on this. We will be aggressive, but I wanted to spend some time and just talk about the two candidates that we did offer the position to. One has 28 years experience. He retired from the city of Oakland, so
Oh, wow.
here's what he's doing. He's very excited to become part of our team. And the other young man we hired, his name is Andy, and he recently graduated from Miami University with an undergrad in urban planning. And he's been actually internship with the city of Beaver Creek doing similar items out there for the past couple of years. So we filled these two positions with people who are very experienced in this job. So I'm very excited about hitting the ground running. And like Mr. Hutchinson did state, they will be starting next week. So again, Derek, thank you so much for the awesome work you've done in a very short amount of time in the planning department.
Thank you.
Mr. Bridge, can I ask you a question real quick? For Derek, since we're hiring two, and then obviously we have Derek, we've got one vehicle. How will we work that if they were both? That literally just popped into my head. So
yeah, it's something to talk about. And Derek, I'll go in and you can piggyback. I will become the council probably for some money, even though it would be under my spending limit. That is something that we have to do. I don't have a problem keeping that car. We're going to try to get it fixed. There's no AC in it right now, but we don't have a car per se. Like in an ideal world, a code enforcement should have like a small Ranger pickup truck. Two-seater up front, driving around. There's signs on a telephone pole. There's signs in the right away. He gets them, he throws them in the back of the truck.
right.
So we'll be looking at some things, because another flip side of that is if I have to leave the city or Derek has to leave the city, like we don't like taking that car because we don't know if it's going to get it back. We're taking it right now because there's no AC in it. So that's something we have to do too, because then what happens is I'll put in for mileage reimbursement if I can't take the city car. So that is something that we'll have to talk about here sooner than later. I'm anticipating probably the next meeting or the first one in August. But we are going to try to get it fixed, what we have now, to get us by. But we will be probably have to buy a car for the administrative side of things here soon. But that's pretty brand new. It's something that can get us to where we need to go.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
and ideally their schedules will alternate. So one may have the say 8 a.m. to noon shift, and the other one might be noon to 4. So there won't be a lot of times where they're in here at the same exact time.
Okay.
So the idea is kind of to flex their schedules to give us full day coverage 5 days a week. So they'll be sharing an office. And so they'll be sharing a vehicle as well. Just because likely the hood of them, if they overlap each other, it won't be long. It won't be long.
Okay. Okay, great. But with the hot weather, we are going to try and get that AC fixed ASAP.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of our oldest cars in our fleet. And right now, unfortunately, where it hasn't been driven much, it has some electrical problems too, because it drains the battery, and if it sits for a long period of time, it doesn't start.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. So, mind if I get going with the city manager report? So, under informational items, we have finance department update. So, I'm happy to report that our May 2020 books have been balanced. We're going to start on June here probably this week. So, the two ladies I have helping us get caught up have just knocked it out of the park in a very short amount of time. They've been able to get us nearly caught up. So, the past bank recs are done. We're just going to work on June, and then also concurrently, what's going on? Our adjustments are being made in our system. So I have a note here that we will be resuming financial reports since the system is up to date, probably at the next meeting, if not the first one in August. But I am again happy to report that all our past work is very on the verge of being caught up, and I'll have some more information to you about what the system was off versus what the bank account was off. The bank account is higher than the system, so that's a great thing. But again, we'll have a report to council here within the next 2 weeks or at the first meeting in August once everything is finalized and caught up in the system. But again, hats off to the two ladies that have been helping us get caught up because they're just knocking it out of the park. The job posting for the finance director was put in the paper today. Excuse me, not paper, various job boards. So it's listed on Indeed. It's on our Facebook page. It's also listed what we call Ohio Government Finance Association. So it's all the financial people in the state of Ohio who have municipal experience usually go to this job board. And then tomorrow I'll be getting a quote to run it in the Springfield New Sun, but I'm going to do a cost benefit on that. At least try to get it on Monster opposed to the print. So that's all in the works right now. City building operations, tomorrow we will be opening that up to the public for appointments only. So basically if our tax administrator cannot help someone on the phone, she'll be able to make an appointment. They'll schedule a time. Say it's 11 o'clock, that citizen or business owner will show up to our foyer. Whoever you have the appointment with will let you into the lobby. We'll take your temperature and we'll issue you a mask. All the appointments will take place in the lobby, and no one will enter the door to go back to the main offices back at the conference room that's still off. While there's a lobby appointment in session, Angela, our central cashier, will actually put something in front of the hole in the window to keep all that air from coming in to protect her. But again, I just wanted to let council know tomorrow we will be opening the appointments only. The rest of the city buildings in the city will be closed. That's water, wastewater. They don't get visitors anyway, but they'll still remain closed. Shelter house renovations. Again, what we talked about in the work session, until the state lists the 10-person ban, there's really no need to discuss it. So I got a note here just to delay it till the first meeting in August, which is the 3rd, if that's okay with council. At the last meeting, some council members wanted some information on the cost to clean it. So it wouldn't have been very cost effective to have a company come in and do it. That would have been hundreds of dollars per cleaning. However, upon talking with Mr. Kicko this morning, apparently the pool and the fire department, they use a mixture where it's a spray, it sits for a minute and it's done. So it's $50 for a gallon of that, but it lasts a while. So should council choose to open the shelter house in August, if the state lifts the 10 ban, that's how we're going to clean it after every use. So basically when it's done, we'll go and spray it. If it's an evening, we'll have someone go over in the morning and spray it before it's the next people come in. But the 1 minute sit time, it just seems like the best, quickest, most efficient way to get it clean without having to pass that on to citizens. help pay for it. So I think $50 per gallon of that stuff, it lasts for a while. I don't think it's got much of an impact on, our revenues. Plus, we'll be able to get reimbursed off of it anyway with the CARES Act funding. Any discussion on that? Is council okay just to pick up that conversation at the next meeting, hoping the state lifts a 10-person ban?
Yep.
Thank you. Hey, fantastic news. Current city building. So, I've been holding this one. Closed on the city building. That was on June 30th. So our previous payment was $1,870 a month for rent. So with the agreement we got 10 years. It's a 5.5 adjustable mortgage. So first 5 years, it's 4%. We end up having only put down $25,824 because we had already paid our July rent in advance, and then also our security deposit from back in the day. So instead of them just giving me a check, I requested they put that on the sale price because that's less we have to finance over time. So that's what we did. So we have to put $25,000 down, which is supposed to be 28. And then basically what that equals out to is, again, our rent payments were $1,870. Our new monthly payment is $1,137.10. It's approximately $730 savings a month, and then $8,760 yearly. So the original financing of this was council wanted to finance it to see how the funds come in and just hopefully pay that off in the bulk sum in year 2, year 3. So if council still wants to do that, fantastic. I would just suggest you pay it off within the 5 years, because after that 5 years, it goes to an adjustable mortgage. But short term, we have saved the city $730 a month. So that's fantastic. So we now officially own our building. One of the things with the resolution that we passed for the CARES Act funding, and I got to get the dollar amount that we're actually getting from the county. I would like to have a company come in, Springfield Glass, to give us a quote to redo our front glass to allow for something to close and open that's built into the glass instead of just having a big open hole. Does that make sense?
Is that something you think we need to do with probably the short amount of time we'll probably be in there?
I don't know how long we're going to be in there, but if we're going to get reimbursed on it from the state, there's no reason why there might be improvements if we're getting reimbursed. Because when we're
Okay.
out, it's going to be a substation, and they're going to want that covered anyway. They're not going to want somebody able to put their hand up through that hole.
Right.
One sitting there. But yeah, I'm just going to get some quotes, and then if we can get reimbursed on it, I don't see why we would not. We would have to front the money, and then we'd have to get it back reimbursed from the state.
Okay.
No, I misspoke. How that works is we're getting an X amount of dollar from the CARES Act funding that we'll be able to expend for COVID-related items if they were not budgeted for. So right now, I'm almost positive I can get reimbursed on all the iPads that I bought for us, the administrators, not for council members. So we had to go get those iPads for the administrators because of the remote meetings for COVID. So I'm going to put in for reimbursement on that, and then any other cleaning expense we've had to do. So how the funding works is they'll just give us a pot of money. I don't have the figures with me, but I heard we're supposed to get along the lines of something like $300,000. So what we could use that for is when we had employees quarantined in the past for 14 days because they may have been exposed to symptoms, we can actually get reimbursed on their pay. So if I was home for 14 days, the city could claim 14 days of my pay rate and take it out of that chunk of money. Whatever we don't use by October, we have to give back. Does that make sense? So we'll have the pot of money to begin with, and then what we don't use by October, we have to send back. That's why I want to look at making these improvements since we now own the building, especially with that glass. I'd rather improve the building and use it opposed to just giving it back. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Sense to me.
Awesome. Fantastic. So everyone's okay with that? Okay.
Yes.
County 911 communication groundbreaking ceremony. That was held on 6/30/20. So basically they started to build that 911 center at the county. It's by the health department. It's going to be a gorgeous building when it's all done, but I did want to give a shout out to and a thank you to Councilwoman Eggleston and also Councilwoman Nowakowski for being there and being present with the city, along with Derek, Planning Director, Mr. Hutchinson, and myself. It was a great event. It probably took about 20, 30 minutes. They cut the thing. We got a picture taken with everyone and it was over. But thank you two ladies for showing up with us and representing the city. That was much appreciated. Motion to approve. This is what was put off last time for council. It's the local government fund formula. So that is back in front of you guys for approval or denial today. So I would need a motion to approve or deny.
Council,
So moved.
Second.
What was
a motion by Ms. Eggleston, a second by Ms. Hopkins. And any discussion on this?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir,
Mr. Bridge, where did you get this form?
from
Who sent it?
What, this one, the one that's attached to the manager report?
Yes, yes.
From them, from the county.
County commissioners?
I think it was from the county auditor's office.
Okay. Because I've been trying since the last time this came before council to find out how these figures, how they arrived at these figures. Because basically, we're getting screwed.
No, you're not.
Springfield is getting 50 times more than we are.
It's based on population, though, that's why. Of course, they're not-
No, it's not proportionate, not even close.
I've already asked about this, and you guys do not have to do anything with it. You guys cannot vote on it. You guys can vote on it. All they need is 2 other people to vote on it, which would be Springfield and Springfield Township, and it's a done deal. But this is just a formula between 1 or 2 things. It's usually population. So I said what I had to say last week on it. It's not going to make much of a difference if you guys do it or not. It's not going to make much of a difference on what formula they use. But I will say this. The county has historically treated us so well, and we're splitting hairs over this formula. It's not going to make a difference if you guys vote on it or not. The county is the agency that's fishing out over $300,000 because of the CARES Act funding. The county is demoing our Madison Street School. The county has historically given us priority for block grant funds, whether it be for low-income street repair. You know, this is an agency that historically treats us very well. To say that Springfield's getting 50%, yeah, of course they are. They're a much bigger city with a bigger population base. They have more roads to fix. You know, that's just sheer basic knowledge about why a city of Springfield would get more than us. But that's for you guys to decide. It's not my decision. You guys can vote on it. You can deny it. However you want to do it. It's not going to have any impact on us getting the funds. But it's not going to make a difference if you.
I have a question, please.
hang on just a second, Mr. Cobb. Mr. Grimm, was you finished?
Apparently I am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Cobb.
Mr. Bridge, I missed it last week and I wasn't able to get in and get the packet today because of computer or iPod problems. What amount of money are we looking at?
We usually receive around 25 a year from them, from the local government fund. It's in
I wasn't in here last meeting, so.
What it is the state gives a pot of money to the county to disperse to the cities and townships within their thing. It's called the local government fund. Over the years, it has significantly dwindled every year, but that's not the fault of it. It's like Mr. Grimm is the county budget commission. Now that I think about it, who does this? Every year the money goes down, but that's not because of the budget commission. That's because how much the money the state is giving to the counties to disperse. The county is really just the middleman when it comes to any kind of funds that are dispersed from the state. We don't get them directly from the state. We get them from the county. You know, so there's 2 formulas you can use, Formula A or Formula B. The end result's really not that much between the 2. Some council members have an issue with the formula they use because they feel it's disproportionate to the other municipalities or townships in this case too, because we have a lot of townships in Clark County. But my experience of it is, and speaking with people, the budget doesn't matter what formula they use, the money's going to be about the same, the allocation is going to be about the same. It just comes down to what type of formula they choose to use. But every time they do that, every 3 years, it has to go back in front of whatever council that is in place to approve or deny that. So every year this comes back to New Carlisle. It's the same argument. You know, the formula is wrong. We're getting money taken from us, but it's really not the case.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cobb. Anyone else, council? All right, Ms. Burner, if you could call the vote, please.
Councilman Grimm,
No.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
No.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Hopkins.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-2.
Thank you very much. And back to you, Mr. Bridge.
Oh, where am I at? All right, Hinkle system filing, I put that into the audit, and that was for an extension for us to get our gap requirements in. They did approve that extension, so we do have until the end of this month to get it done. So we have already been well prepared to send the company, Kennedy Cottrell Richards, who does our gap. They already have a lot of the stuff they need to work on to get started. I'm going to be pulling some information to get them this week. So that's good to know that the state did actually approve our extension. So I just wanted to update council on that letter. I have another bullet point, waste management renewal cost comparison. I don't think we're going to have a special meeting for that particularly, but I will go ahead and ask about the question regarding the Christmas bags and bring back the council. So I am going to jump on down to the next one. I would like to request a special meeting to discuss the water connections. So in an attachment to the city manager report, I put the latest update from the state of Ohio saying that as of July 14th, municipalities or water district authorities are able to go ahead and start disconnecting people again. So that's something that we do want to get council's opinion on. And I think it's going to take a lengthy meeting. So one of the things I am proposing is either call a special meeting next week, or we can go ahead and have a early work session start time, similar to how we done it today with the trash bids, but that's completely up to council.
Council, what would you like to do? Start an early work session or do a special meeting?
Early work session is fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early work session for me at 5:30 would be good.
Me too.
But I have a question here.
Yes, sir.
For the disconnection fee and everything, we had agreed that and voted on it, we would go until January 1, 2020 or 2021, or until Governor DeWine declared the pandemic done.
Okay, the original agreement was never until 2021. It expired December 30th of this year, I believe. But that'd be up to council because they're losing revenue left and right because of going on. But that's for council to decide. Even though you guys may have said, until Governor DeWine states, Governor DeWine never issued the order to begin with. It was Department of Health. Ohio Water Authority who issued that thing. So it's something that you guys should probably look at because what's going on is we have a few accounts who are just refusing to pay their water bill, thinking it's all going to get wiped off. Well, that's not.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Randy, because I wasn't going to say it in the meeting. And not that we're naming names, but when I heard that we had a handful of people saying they weren't going to pay their water bill because they were counting on council just washing the bill completely away, I have a serious problem with that.
That too, and another thing is, it would be in our best interest to have all these past funds receipted before the end of the year for auditing purposes. And two, I think it was very valiant, a very nice gesture for council to do what they did. But I would assume, and I'm not trying to be weird or unprofessional, but a lot of people are making more money now with the extra $600 a week that they were when they were working. So I think it'd be appropriate for council to go ahead and put it back on and start disconnecting people.
Can't we have people down there in the city building calling these residents that are behind and trying to work up a payment plan?
They are.
They are refusing to pay their bill. They think it's all going to be wiped off. We got people with $1,000 past due, and how that's going to work is, we're going to have the meeting on this And we're going to set a date, whether it be August 1, that we're going to start disconnecting people. People are going to have to call and get on a payment plan. And we're going to have to tweak that a little bit, because usually when you do a payment plan, all your past due balances have to be paid. So there's a perfect storm of some citizens going to be in a world of hurting if we don't get some things figured out and a game plan to move forward. Because I will say this, a lot of people are paying their bill on time. Why is it fair for people who are struggling and still paying their bill on time versus people who aren't paying at all? You know, and we've seen that. We've seen the receipts come in. We've seen how many water bills are being paid. I update council with the number of accounts that are delinquent. And I think it's about time that they start getting connected again, and we're requiring it, because at the end of the day, this is a business. This is a water and wastewater department. This is not a general fund. You know, these funds need to be self-sufficient, and they're taking a hit off revenue losses to begin with. So we got to stop the hemorrhaging at some point.
All right. So everyone is okay to do a extended work session to discuss this further.
Yes.
Fine.
So we'll shoot for 5:30, Mr. Bridge, if no one else has any problems.
Okay, sounds good.
Can I ask a question?
You sure can.
The way it stands right now, you said in order to make, now we only let them make arrangements for 3 months, right?
3 payment arrangements a year.
Oh, 3 payment arrangements a year. So they could make it longer than 3 months.
Well, what that
Yes.
means, say you, hey, it's April, you need a payment, you can't pay your bill. So as long as your bill's caught up to fine, you can just take that and split it over. But you 3 times a year you can do that. So we'll make an arrangement with you 3 times out of the year.
Yeah, but you said your bill has to be current. If it was current, why would you need to make payment arrangements?
I don't know. I may have misspoke on that. So I know a portion of it can be, no, I thought Council told me it all has to be paid up, but I could be wrong. But that's something we'll discuss in the work session.
Okay, I just wanted to know to think about it. That's why.
Any other comments on this before we move forward? All right, back to you, Mr. Bridge.
So with that being said, is when we do that, if we were going to do a special meeting, it's fine. I can just do the legislation at the regular session now. But we'll have to do some city payment, down payment. We're going to have to re-amend the CIP to put $25,000 for that down payment, and then also we had to go ahead and order some dehumidifiers for the water plant as an emergency purchase. There's 4 of those, a total of about $13,000. So what we're going to do is take some of the capital from water that we know we're not going to use this year and just replace those with the humidifier purchase. But the humidifiers have been out, I think, for last week down at the water plant. Mr. Hutchinson can probably add to why that's important, but right now it's a very hot place to work. We need those humidifiers in place. So we did go ahead and order them today.
Yeah, it's the humidity. I mean, it gets bad this time right now. If you walk in there, it's like it's raining indoors. All the condensation from all the pipes overhead is just pouring down over the entire inside the building. So and we currently had just one unit. It was a larger unit, but it was just that one was nowhere near enough, and it definitely outlasted its lifespan there. So,
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Bridge.
And just last thing up, as I put in the past couple meetings, coming up here very shortly, we'll have the street lighting assessments and abatement utility assessments.
All righty. Council, any questions for Mr. Bridge before we move forward? All righty, so let's see where we're at here. Comments from the members of the public. Mr. Bridge, do you have anything on your screen, sir?
I do not.
All right.
Well, hold on. What is this? Oh, it's Cheryl, and she would like us to plan ahead for the next SARS-CoV-19 outbreak. So we'll just go ahead and delete that because it's junk mail.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I was making fun of the email. I said I got a junk mail, and it was Cheryl wanting to know if we can plan ahead for the next coronavirus outbreak.
Oh, okay. So moving on, committee reports, none tonight. Resolutions, Ms. Berner.
All right, we have resolution 2020-08R, a resolution adopting the update of the Clark County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation 5-year plan.
Council?
So moved.
Second.
Did you get those, Ms. Burner?
I think I heard Councilwoman Noakowski as the first, and second is Councilwoman Eggleston.
That's what I heard.
All right.
All right. And Mr. Bridge?
The explanation of this is the thing we brought last week that was put off. So it's just a hazard mitigation plan that the county has to update every now and then each jurisdiction has to approve it or deny it.
Thank you, sir. Council, any discussion before we call a vote? And when you're ready, Ms. Burner.
All right. Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
That motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. And moving on to ordinances, when you're ready, please.
All right, moving on to ordinance 2020-21, an ordinance adopting the tax budget for the city of New Carlisle, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2021, and submitting the same to the auditor of Clark County, Ohio.
All right.
So moved.
No. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay,
No, we're good. So motion by Ms. Eggleston and a second by Mr. Grimm.
yep, that's what I heard.
Okay, an explanation of this ordinance is step one of the overall 2021 budget hearing process. How this works is we use the previous year's estimated resources we got from the auditor. We plug it in, we make sure the expenditures do not exceed the revenues we're supposed to get in. They take that, they do something on their end, and then they give us a new estimated resource that we use to actually put real numbers in for our 2021 budget. That usually occurs around August.
All right, any questions for Mr. Bridge? All right, when you're ready, Ms. Burner.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Is she here?
I don't,
There we go.
She's,
there she is. Councilwoman Noakowski,
We need a yes or no vote from you, Ms. Nokowski.
she's froze. That or she's like in serious thought mode.
yeah.
Mhm.
I had a black screen for a minute and then her
me too.
face popped up. So I'm thinking she's frozen.
Okay, we'll go around her and maybe she'll come back by the time you're done.
Yep. Councilman Cobb,
Yeah.
Woman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski, can you hear me? She's frozen again on my end.
Yeah, same here.
All right.
She's gone.
Okay.
Maybe she can phone it in.
Well, the
Alright.
motion, it'll pass
Yeah, we'll just,
6-0-1. Well,
yep.
Oh, I'm left. Let's see if she's trying to get back in.
Did you want to wait a minute, Mr. Bridge?
Oh, that's up to council. I just didn't know if you guys see what I'm seeing. Sorry.
Yeah, she's coming back on. I think Casey was helping her.
Councilwoman Noakowski, can you hear us at least?
Hang on, she's sending me a text.
Text you her vote? I don't think she can do that. That might be not.
Yeah, no, she can't do that.
She said that she's disconnected as far as she can see.
Okay. Well, we'll just leave the vote the way it was. It passed anyway.
Okay,
So, and then on to other business.
all right. Oh, hold on, I lost my. There we go. I don't have anything under other business, nor do I have an executive session or.
Oh, that was not.
Okay. So, yeah, so under other business, nothing, no executive session tonight. I just have one thing I wanted to add unrelated to city workings, I guess, if you will. I've had a lot of people ask about the Heritage of Flight Festival.
I can see
And,
no one.
What was that?
Councilwoman Noakowski.
Okay. Well, I was just going to add on the Heritage of Flight Festival, we have not called it yet. We were hoping to call it on July 1st. And then when DeWine had extended his orders for about another week. So we're hoping that we'll know something later this week on what we can or cannot do. And we'll make a call because, we can't throw this thing together in, 2-3 months. But hopefully we can get it in. But hopefully we'll have an announcement later this week. And that is all I had. Does council have anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, I have a couple things.
Eggleston?
We had talked prior about moving the skate park from the pool over to Smith Park.
Yes.
Are we still planning on doing that?
I know that that was brought up. I think it's a very interesting idea. I think that would be a good thing to be brought back up at the next meeting when Mr. Kitco is here. He would know a lot more of the logistics of what it would take to move it. I think the park's definitely big enough to put it there. My 2 cents.
You guys willing to give up a tennis court for it?
Well, we've got 3 tennis courts, and I think
It needs to be moved. It is not convenient to anything in the city. And we have talked about that for years. So if you guys want it, we'll bring it back up when Mr. Kitco's here.
right.
Next meeting. I don't have a problem with it because, like I said, it is not convenient to anything in the city.
Yeah.
As far as kids walking to it, especially when the pool's not open.
Right. Is that okay with you, Miss Eggleston?
Yeah, I was just wondering where we stood on it.
Would council be open to like maybe at the park behind Dollar General too? Because that's a very centrally located park as well with not a lot of draw at that particular park. But if council's open to the entertainment of just discussing moving it, that's something we can knock out next meeting or, soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I do have something else. House Bill 253 passed the State House, and it is now in front of the State Senate. And if this passes, it legalizes citizens to set off fireworks in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's legal anyways.
Currently, our noise ordinance, which is 648.10, does not list fireworks. And I think that we should probably amend that to include fireworks.
Did you talk to Jake on this, I'm assuming?
Yes.
And his opinions on it were the same?
Yes.
Okay.
We've got people setting them off in the city.
Right.
I mean, not only is it annoying when they're setting them off at 2:00 in the morning, but in a residential area, you've got these fireworks going off, raining on people's roofs and in their yards, and the chance of catching a house on fire or somebody's yard on fire.
We're spooking the dog.
Pardon?
Hearing the dogs.
Oh, yes.
Thank you,
So,
Mr.
but this is just to change it to add it to the noise ordinance past 10 o'clock.
Right.
It's not to stop them from doing it. It's to just add it to the noise ordinance.
Well, I mean, if we could just add it to the noise ordinance, at least they won't be setting them off at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
That's under 600 of the codes, right?
648.10.
Okay. So,
Council, do you,
I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to ask council if they had any questions or comments for Ms. Eggleston on it.
That comes up for vote in November to either to disallow that or to allow it, along with legalizing marijuana. I think we just need to wait and see what happens.
Oh, the fireworks is a November thing?
Yes,
No, I think we're voting on that inside the house. I don't think it's going to the
And-
fire-
DeWine vetoed that.
Oh, he did. I didn't.
Yeah. So now it's been put out. The petitions have been formed and signed, and it comes up for a vote in November.
When I spoke to Jake last week, he said that it had passed the House and it was in the Senate now.
What I thought.
Well, I mean, it doesn't, in my 2 cents, I don't think it really matters where it's at because, Joe Citizen can go to any fireworks store and still let them off. I mean, all we're going to be doing is, if I'm understanding you correctly, is just adding them to the noise ordinance.
Fireworks are not listed on our noise ordinance right now
Okay,
because it's always been a state law that they couldn't do it.
right.
But also, it doesn't even get dark until like 9:30. So I don't know.
Commercial fireworks displays don't usually start until 10.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, Evans started at 10 o'clock.
So did City of Huber.
Usually special events carved out in that legislation, like special circumstances or special events. Those are just, I think, the legislation would be geared for. If I'm in my backyard, I can't let off Roman candles.
Right. So does it need to be worded then with that stipulation of special events?
Yeah, I mean, Jake would have to draft some legislation, to get everything in line with state law, make sure it doesn't conflict that. And how this
Okay.
is, since Miss Eggleston did work with Jake on that, she'll have to draft the legislation and then Miss Eggleston's name gets put on that legislation piece. And then council just votes on the legislation piece.
So we could, if council agreed, to just give, since she's the one that's been working with him on it, the okay to go ahead and work with Jake to draft something up if everyone is okay with doing so.
Yeah, I can't remember how council does the rules of council. I know prior, I don't know if she needs council support for him to draft the legislation.
Yeah, I believe she does.
But she still have to put her name on it. But I don't know if that's changed since, the last, I think that was put in place in the rules of council to prevent people from doing what they did. But I don't know if you guys, I can't remember if you guys have took it off at the beginning of the
I
year.
Yeah.
think according to rules of council, that has to come before the whole council and then go to the law director.
Right. Okay. Well, Ms. Eggleston, do you want to read up on that some more and then possibly bring it up at the next meeting, or do you want to go ahead and?
Yeah, I'll get a hold of Jake this week and see what he says.
That's not, I think what Mr. Cook is saying is that council should direct other council members as a whole.
Right.
Yeah, fill me in, Mr. I don't want to overstep my place with council.
No, that's what I was saying was just, would you like to just do a little bit more reading up on the procedure? Because I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure we would have to take a vote for you to move forward with talking to Jake further to actually draft something up to present it to council.
Right, that's what I was under the impression. I mean, that's what I was asked you and Mr.
Okay.
Bridge both, whether or not I needed Mr. Bridge to contact Jake to see
Right.
if the
Okay,
way
so-
the current ordinance is worded would work.
Okay, so if you wanted, then you could make a motion. Or let me think, how would we do this? You could make a motion to move forward with asking the law director to draft up such legislation. And then if we voted it through, then you could go through and do so.
Randy
Okay.
would do it. Randy would do it.
No, I don't.
No,
think-
it would come from her.
Whoever council member have to work on it.
Right. So if you wanted to do that, Ms. Eggleston,
Okay, I make a motion to do what you just said.
she's making, she would be making a motion to have support from council to move forward with having the city attorney draft up guidelines, legislation to add fireworks to the noise ordinance at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
Sound right?
You want
All right.
yeah.
a special event carved out in that though?
Right, and that's why I would assume she would definitely work with Jake if this passes to make sure we have stipulations in there for large events or, festivals or whatever it may be. So we would need a second on that to do a vote.
I'll
Anyone?
jump in second.
Second.
Okay, so a second by Vice Mayor.
Okay.
And any more discussion before we vote? All right, when you're ready, Ms. Berner.
All right. Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hopkins,
No.
Councilman Grimm,
No.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
I think she's gone again.
she is. I heard her just a second ago talking too.
Yeah,
Again.
I
yeah,
I think, yeah.
okay,
she
I
said
heard
yes.
yes.
Said yes.
Councilman Cobb,
No.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes,
Can you vote
Vice
for
Mayor Cook,
yourself?
Yes.
Can you vote for yourself?
She's not voting for herself. She's just voting on the motion. Yes, you can.
you're not
Okay.
voting.
all right, that motion passes 4-3.
All right.
Who was the
And
first?
just keep in mind, council, this is, this just is giving her the ability to look into it further with Jake. I mean, if she comes forward with something, it still doesn't mean it'll pass. It still has to go through us regardless. So just
True.
keep that in mind. All right. And anyone else have anything else before we wrap up?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Vice Mayor.
I would like to thank Chief Trustee and the members of the Fire Division for the event that was held Saturday morning. I thought it was a grand time had by all and a very knowledgeable and very informative situation as far as the new piece of apparatus.
Yes, I would agree. You did a great job, Chief. And again, actually, Chief, you mind just speaking on that again?
We received a new medic last Monday. That's a Braun medic. That's a 2020 Ford 550 chassis, four-wheel drive vehicle. The box itself is has all the up-to-date equipment, up-to-date electronics, to where we're able to operate a lot better, a lot safer for the crews. We added some safety features into the vehicle to keep back injuries and that type of thing for our crews. The O2, the large O2 cylinder that the medic carries that they had to switch out on their own is on a lowering rack to where they don't have to try to lift it into the vehicle. The biggest thing is the load system for the cot. The cot can actually be loaded into the medic with a patient on it by one person. By just pushing it in, locking it in, push the button, it raises the cot up. And basically we can use one finger and push it into the medic. It does come with a very hefty price tag, but it's well worth it for saving our crews and our people. The medic is beautiful. It's everything we wanted it to be. Thank you to, first of all, to the citizens for passing our levy and for the council for approving it. The medic came in at a price tag of $218,000, and then the cot and the load system was another $43,000. But we're looking at that medic will be in service probably for 15, 20 years if we can keep it that way. It's a beautiful medic. It's state of the art. Braun Company did a fantastic job for us. Kind of a little bit of a plus for us. We took it out to Elizabeth Township last week to show them, and they contacted Braun the next day to look at buying one, which is a plus for us. But I would like to personally thank the council for everyone that showed up on Saturday. That was really meant a lot to the crews and to me personally to see everybody there.
Well, let me piggyback off what you said, Chief, and I'm going to point at Mr. Bridge here. When we pushed that big sucker in, it would have been a lot easier if you'd have shown up.
And the medic has already it's been in service, and it's already ran several calls. We ran some serious emergency calls already this weekend with it.
All right.
I just wanted to say that cotton load system looked like it was worth every penny.
It is.
You demonstrated how you can just load, one person can load them, and all the safety equipment. It's really, really nice. I want to thank you and everybody at the fire department that did all the work on it too, getting it ready.
The biggest thank you out of the department goes to Assistant Chief Anthony Cooper. He's the Assistant Chief of EMS operations. He was the spearhead as far as dealing with Braun Company, getting the specifications, and then we had a few people on a committee in the department looking at what we wanted, what we didn't want. And the only thing I can really say too, kind of a ha-ha funny, is if you like Ohio State, you'll like the medic.
I love
You,
the
Randy had something to do with that.
What?
It's as close as you can get to Scarlet and Gray as you can get.
Yeah, it's good.
But if they don't like Ohio State, you'll still go take care of them.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
But no, like I said, it's a fantastic piece of equipment. We don't have to worry about the airbag systems anymore. This one has all liquid springs, and the driver can adjust that liquid spring ride from the cab. It's excellent.
Mr. Cobb?
Chief, I want to thank you and your department and the men that spec that out. I was amazed at what you come up with. I remember the old days. And my hat's off to you and your department and your team.
Thanks, sir.
All
That
right,
won't
council,
get you
anyone
any
else?
frequent flyer miles.
Yeah.
What?
Your card's hanging in the cab. It gets punched every time.
Good, thank you.
Since we're on the feel good moment, I'll just say, to the citizens for a while, and you guys are citizens clearly because you're council members, but I mean, you're talking about a town where these citizens take initiative to better their citizen. I mean, better their city across all boards. And I'd said this a few months back in an intergovernmental meeting. You guys, we have not failed a levy in probably 5 or 6 years. You know what that says about your citizens think about the way the city's moving? People don't pass levies and pass things if they don't think it's moving in the right direction. So hats off to every one of you on my screen right now that I see. I think citizens see the road work and all the improvements we're making, that they're allowing that. And yes, Fire Chief and his crew did a fantastic job of specking out this medic that, our citizens are going to get to. But, I mean, it is such a great thing that these people are just passing everything that shows a lot of trust in not only council, but also the administration. So again, citizens of New Carlisle, hats off to you for taking the responsibility to make your hometown better than what it was the year before.
And it allowed us also to, this medic belongs to the city. It's paid for.
Done. Loan it,
That's wonderful.
That is an incredible piece of equipment.
Yeah, it is.
Impressed. And I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank my fellow citizens of New Carlisle for supporting the fire department, for supporting the police levy. I think they realize that it is in their best interest to have a good fire department and to have good police protection.
You said it, sir. So, all right. Anyone else before we wrap up?
No. Oh, just give you guys heads up again. I have jury duty on Wednesday, every Wednesday for the next 2 months. Just putting it out there for everyone.
All right. Yeah, we'll catch you at the next push-in ceremony, Randy.
I hope it's an ends in them.
It will be.
Right,
We'll make sure it's an inch.
and we'll stay home and we'll just let him push it in himself.
Pull a rope on, I'll pull it with my jaw and teeth and get it in that thing, no problem.
All right.
All right.
We'll make sure it's 1,000-gallon tank too.
Oh, oh.
All right. Anyone else?
Oh, you guys got adjourned.
Yep.
Motion adjourned.
Second,
Second by Ms. Hopkins.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski, Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hopkins.
yes.
That's accepted.
All right. Thank you very much. And we will see everyone at the next council meeting. Have a good evening.
I.
Good night, all.
Good night.